think it's super romantic because we, as a human, we should see us as a producer. We can produce good soil for the next generation.
Welcome to reVyven, where environmental ideas come to life. At reVyven, we aim to connect, learn, and make a difference.
So today we're here with Yo-Yo Casanova-Linder, who is the co-founder and head of corporate development for Kompotoi in Switzerland for the last 13 years, and now you're in Germany. Welcome, Yo-Yo.
Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. So we're going to dive in, and from our understanding, you took a trip to India in 2012. And that trip really informed the whole concept of your company.
True. It was a bit earlier, though.
Okay.
I think it was 2008.
Oh, okay.
But never mind. For me, it was super impressive to see what comes out in the back of a composting toilet. That really amazes me. And when I was back in Switzerland, went to an event, needed to go to the toilet, and then I used one of these plastic chemical porta potties, and then I was just really, is that the best solution you can get here in Switzerland? And that in that time the idea came up to do that, more beautiful out of wood that you can feel cozy, and also to manage get back the nutritions into the loop and make good compost.
Yeah. And did you go to India exclusively to look at their toilet design, or were you on a personal trip? Why did you take that trip in the first place?
Well, that with the toilet was an accident.
Okay.
No, I was working for a foundation in Switzerland, and they made a lot of transportation with material that is not anymore in use here in Switzerland. For example, a lot of tables and chairs from schools we brought there, and also equipment from hospitals and so on. So I worked for this foundation basically in Switzerland, and I was helping to fill up the containers here, and then I get in contact with the people that will get the containers. And the founder of this foundation in India, he says, one time you will come to India. And so it happens, I was visiting the school there. He runs 2 schoolhouses, and just in the same village there was another foundation doing the toilet things, so I just accidentally come across
The toilets, that's great. And the concept that you have for designing your company, Kompotoi, is that from our understanding, and please correct us if we are wrong in this, is that you use less plastic, you're using a natural composting concept, less chemicals, and I have to tell you, we have run into your toilets in the Alps in several different locations. And I'm not saying this just because you're on the line today with us, but they're really such a pleasant experience. For our listeners who haven't run into one of your toilets, they're beautifully handcrafted out of wood. You even put little hearts in the door, and they have beautiful messages inside. They're always clean. They don't have the smell where you hold your breath running into a chemical toilet, do your business, and quickly try to exit before you have to breathe. They have such a nice feel, and they kind of blend into the landscape. So could you talk to us about the concept of your toilets, how you came up with it, and the whole, like, as you had said before, you wanted to get away from the chemical side of it?
I'm super glad you had a very good experience with our products.
Yes.
I mean, for me there was basically 2 things that really was the changing things, like, first of all, it was really, you can speak more or less to everyone and ask him, do you like this plastic chemical toilet? And the answer will be no. And most of the people, they don't want to go there. And some people, well, maybe they don't care so much, but no one really likes it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one thing, I mean, they are so big in the market, but no one likes him. So it's obvious you can do that better, right? And the second thing, it's much more than about the impact, you know, like what we do right now with when we look a bit like the wider field with all toilets, we basically flash very good nutritions with clean drinking water, and then this nutritions in the water, they are pollution. So we need energy to get this pollution out of the water, and in the same time we import that nutritions which also needs a lot of energy. So it's just, this is not circular economy, it's so uncircular you cannot imagine almost. And yeah, we need to change that, you know. It's a really impact driven thing, and these are like the two things we really wanted to change.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a great way to enter into the byproducts that come out of your toilets. Um, Obviously, you're collecting human waste. Where does the human waste or the byproduct go? And how often do you service your toilets? And this is something we'll get into, that there is this is, I don't know if you would say controversial, Yo-Yo, but it's a topic that some people are really uncomfortable with, is the integration of human waste back into the agricultural system. So maybe we can talk first about how you collect the waste in your toilets, how it's treated, where does it go, and then how often you have to service those toilets.
Yeah, actually we talk about two revenue streams. So it's
Mm-hmm.
the liquid and the solid material, and we managed those things different. So with the solid material, it's actually quite an easy process. You probably know the big composting, how you say, fields or companies, and you can really mix it in there. Maybe not in the really easiest way to do. You need to take care on some things, but we really work with other companies together. They do the compost for us, and we mix our material in there. So basically, we change the bins in our toilets. We put that on a big bin, and then we deliver it to the composting site. It gets mixed with all the other materials that lands there, and they also put old compost in there. It's important to start the process. Also a little bit of soil, like 10%, and then it will be mixed, and it will be mixed in the first month almost daily, because the microorganisms, they need to breathe, so they need air inside these piles, and then it gets natural heated, and that's how we can make it really clean, you know, and safe.
Mm-hmm.
And with the liquid is also a biological process. It's like a stabilization of the nutria, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so the problem is most of the toilets, they stink because, or most of the toilets, I mean, the really old one, you know, maybe your grandfather or mother has in their house. They stink because the urine, it reacts with the air, and then ammoniac is like, how you say that? It comes out, you know, and this is not happening in our toilets because we separate the most of the urine, and also we cover up the business with the wood chips. You experienced that,
Yeah.
and that makes it so neutral from
Mm-hmm.
the smell. Exactly. And when we have made that process with the urine, you can use it really as a fertilizer on normal plants and on the fields. This is the two things we do. And the other question was how often we clean the toilet. And I mean, I can't say this, it has to do with how many people are going to use to it. And before you said the toilets were always clean, and I have to say that's not true. The toilets are not always clean, but you have to manage that they are always clean.
Yeah.
And some customers, they have actually booked a daily cleaning from us. So the city of Zurich, for example,
Wow.
they have few toilets on some hotspots. They call it hotspots, where really thousands of people are every day.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there we need to go there daily. The most toilets we clean just once a week, and then we have customers. They have not so much people, and then maybe we go once a month, something like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were very flexible.
Yeah. And I would imagine the high traffic toilets that are being used multiple times throughout a single day are less clean than those that we run into in kind of remote alpine locations or on hiking locations. But yeah, I do think the point about the smell of the urine is really true. They don't have that kind of smell. So that's always very pleasant. So thanks for that. And now, can we talk about, you had said that there's the separation between the liquid and the solid. And from what we read, but perhaps you can allude to this a little bit deeper, Yo-Yo, is that some countries still practice using human waste or what is called night soil for the nutrition in the soil. And they use it on agricultural practices. But from what we understand in the EU, and despite Switzerland not being part of the EU, that's only permissible if you use urine byproducts on conventional farming practices. Is that true from your understanding and your knowledge?
Um, well, I try to say it in my words, right?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So in Switzerland, it's actually really not regulated.
Okay.
So it's not forbidden and it's not really allowed. So at the moment, we're quite free, which is a huge risk because when they change and say it's not allowed, then we have a problem. So we're really working on also with that association we founded, Balu. We work on that side that it will be regulated, and it's actually not so easy because how can I explain that? Because what happened in the past, um, somehow we were very afraid of that.
Yes.
We have some problem because we took out the sewage sludge like it just stopped 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, there were like hundreds of tons of sewage sludge brings out. We brought out them to the fields, and now we still have this PFAS on the fields, and how is that these heavy metal problems. But these problems, it's actually not coming from human waste. This is coming from industrial wastewater. It's coming from our clothes, for example, from washing and so on. So this is the cool thing, that what we collect in our toilet, everything was already going through a human. It cannot be that poisonous. And with the right process, we really can make it clean and safe. This is really important. And right now, or the last 5 or 6 years, we had done a lot of scientific tests with our product, and like really all of them say it's safe. And now we're talking to the governments and trying to make the regulation. Probably in the next 1 to 2 years, it should be regulated in Switzerland. We're really looking positive in the future here. And in the EU, it's a bit more complicated because they have different regulation, and there it's actually, yeah, how can you say, it's also not regulated, but because it's not regulated, you cannot do it, because yeah, there is not such a number you can put it in, and then you really have some problem to bring it into a composting site. There is some ways you can do it, but yeah, it's really not easy.
I think you brought up a couple of good points I just want to tap into is our water supply, and I think even groundwater water supply is now really exposed to a lot of industrial chemicals. You mentioned PFAS. I know that that's also something they're doing a lot of research now in the Alps and on glaciers is because of skis. The ski wax used for years was
Mm.
utilizing PFAS. And I know a lot of companies are phasing that out, but it's a forever chemical. So you don't get rid of it. It stays with us, unfortunately, for a long time. And now we're seeing a lot also with microplastics, where the tiniest particles of plastics are in the water system, in the human body. They're virtually detected everywhere. So I think those are important points to talk about just briefly. And I think is the main concern with this, and I wanted to talk to you also about, from our understanding, it's practice to use animal byproducts for agricultural farming. But why is that so different than human byproduct?
It's actually not different at all.
Yeah.
So if you look at pig manure
Yeah.
and human, I mean, we have almost the same stomach. And we like both, can I say animals, human? We eat
Absolutely.
the same more or less, you know?
Yes.
So it's really the same. The problem is that we get compared with sewage sludge and
Mm.
not with animal manure.
Yeah. Can you say what sewage sludge is for our listener? Like, just tell us quickly what that means.
Well, this is the end product of the wastewater treatment plants. So the wastewater treatment plant cleans all the water, and what stays there is the sewage sludge.
Okay.
Well, I mean, additionally, it's everything that you put down the drain, not just the human waste. So I think it is tainted with, let's say, other chemicals or other cleaners and other things that, let's say, a compostable toilet doesn't see.
Exactly. It's the same with micropollutions. No, you said microplastic before.
Mm-hmm.
And what we collect in Kompotoi is really, maybe we have microplastic in our toilet, but it came through our mouth. So we needed to eat it first. It was already in our food, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have actually we have some problems with waste in the toilets too, but it's like quite big things, you know, like vodka bottles or something like that.
Yeah.
We find in our compost, but this is no problem because at the end of the composting process, we will sieve the whole material, and then this all will come out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the association or realizing that our waste is not different than, like you said, pigs is really important. And I know there's also some concern about the pharmaceuticals that humans utilize, and then can we process that out? But with conventional husbandry and farming, our animals are also ingesting pharmaceuticals. So it's something that like you mentioned, there's not much of a difference now.
No, it's really not. And I think also we need to maybe have a look back even a bit further, because why are we afraid of that material? And
Mm-hmm.
it probably comes from the sickness that was spread when we already using the normal toilet, and we just flush away that material, and then it landed just in the rivers, and then we collected water from the rivers, and so we get sick again because it was not clean, you know. So
Yeah.
maybe the why we are afraid of this material is actually because of the water and not because of the compost.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's a valid point. And in reading up on this topic, because we don't know a lot about it the way that you do, but I was reading back that biosolids in Japan, or night soil, was really highly coveted in the 1700s. And they even considered it a crime to steal human waste because it made the agricultural so vibrant and grew such good plants and had great soil health. So it's something else that I wanted to ask you as we talk about the history, but where we are today in terms of farming and practices. From what we know, the soil is so greatly depleted today, and that can be from years and years of chemical use, from tilling practices and modern farming practices that haven't always been the most favorable for soil health. Do you see that the utilization of human byproducts or the waste, the biosolids or the night soil, could actually be very helpful in bringing back soil health?
Of course, I mean, that's the reason why we do that. And I think it's super romantic because we, as a human, we can like lift up the soils we need to live, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when we talk um, to young humans and they always see the problem. Yeah, we breathe, we produce CO2. It would be better we would not live, you know. And this is a totally wrong view. We should look at it. We should see us as a producer. We can produce good soil for the next generation. For me, it's super important. And what you just said in Japan, it was here the same. 150 years ago, I just spoke to a person who was really studying the past, and he told me that in Switzerland, the teacher he could have get the bin home from the toilets in the schoolhouse, and this was even a part of his wage in his contract.
Wow.
So it was really something worth also in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
And there is a
waste
fun story.
that
You know why that changed?
why?
Because the train railways was developing further to Russia, and there it was cheaper to grow crops. So we got imported crops, and then the farming changed a lot in Europe. So they couldn't make more crops, so they changed to animal to
Mm.
produce meat and so on. And when you have animal, you also have the compost of the animals, you know, you don't need them anymore from the cities.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it changed. Yeah.
Oh, that's so,
Interesting.
yeah, that's so interesting. And I would imagine there is a deep history on this, and it's something we looked up before this conversation, but yeah, it has a deep-rooted history as well. And like you said, I think that human waste years ago, not even that long ago, was viewed as gold because it was so precious in terms of farming. And we were reading, Yo-Yo, about different uses of human waste. And we may have even gotten this information off of your LinkedIn account, but the sanitation in Africa, from our understanding, they take waste and they turn it into fuel. Are you familiar?
Well, I have heard of different uses
Yeah.
and also of fuel, and some English scientists makes electricity out of urine and so on.
Wow.
And yeah, there will be a lot of uses in the future of this now called trash things. But
Mhm.
I would say it's not so far that it's really giving us proper value. Still in scientific things, it's a lot of going on in that cases.
Yeah.
What to do with this material, because we have a lot of it
Yes.
in every place where humans are. So it would be really, really cool if we can turn it in some valuable things. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's something you talked about in the very beginning was in terms of a circular economy, it's keeping everything within a loop so that you're not producing waste and that everything has a place and that circle keeps going. And I think the output that you collect in your toilets is a prime example of that. But I do think there needs to be, and maybe you have ideas on how to do this, but a real shift in education or how people think to get this so that it's not such a, I guess, controversial, political, I don't know the other word as a topic.
Well, for me, it's quite, you know, it's natural foreseen. Like every animal
Mm-hmm.
in the wildlife, they do their business on the ground, and then it will be turned to soil. I mean, soil is shit. It's shit
Mm-hmm.
from worms. It's shit. It yeah. It's just a fact, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we have a huge infrastructure problem because we have done all this piping, and yeah, it's the whole system is built on that flash away and bring it into the wastewater treatment plants, and there it's so complicated to use it again. So it will take really tens of years till we can change that. And I think we're really also a pioneer company because we just like work on the awareness, you know. When you
Mhm.
were using our toilets, maybe somewhere when you were taking a hike, then you were probably just sitting there and thinking like, okay, what happens right now? I mean, is that really turning into soil? Is my shit turning into something valuable? Like then you start to think different, you know. And
Yeah.
this is also very important in our project, that we work on this awareness, that people get to know that, hey, what we produce as a human can be used on another place. We don't have to pollute water. We can have another system.
Do you think that there's a, let's say, a cultural difference between different areas and different people, or some kind of a stigma between the use of this, or what's your opinion on that?
Of course. I mean, in Europe, it's very cool because if you talk to northern countries, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and so on, they super used to composting toilets. They have it in their outhouses, you know,
Hmm.
because the sink would just freeze. So they have dry toilets there everywhere. And if you talk to them, for them, it's no questions. And when we started a bit more than 10 years ago in Switzerland, I mean, when we explained that first, it was like most of the people were like, "What are you doing? Really? Does that works?" And at the end, you will use it on our salad. I mean, I don't gonna eat the salad with that compost, and then yeah, you really need to go deeper in that conversation till
Yeah.
people recognize, oh yeah, well the salad grows anyway in soil, and soil is anyway out of shit. So if you compost it safe, it doesn't matter. It's the same actually at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is where education is such an important part of it. I think, the work that Robert and I have done with the podcast is we meet so many people who are focused on very different areas, but education is always so important part of this. And like you said, it's really has to be a mental shift in people that seeing shit literally as valuable, a valuable excretion. And that I think sometimes maybe this is in Switzerland. I know certainly in America, we've become hyper sterile. We've created hyper sterile environments. So the sheer thought of using shit in something that we will eventually eat is just unfathomable. But as you said, all the soil is really shit. So once
Yeah.
we see it that way, it's not so bizarre, but it's where that comes from. Is it an animal? Is it an insect? Is it really the decay and breakdown of something that may have died, whether that's an animal or a tree or a fruit? But yeah, it's important to look at it that way.
I mean, it's not shit anymore, you know. We also need to be sure about that. And I really love that process of composting, you know.
Yes.
I'm really like, it's an alchemist job. He turns like natural waste into really good soil. And for me, just to look at that job, it's so cool what they do. And it's even cooler because it's not so hard, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people does that themselves in their garden with their kitchen waste. It's just a natural process that anyway happens. And of course, the composting facilities, they how can I explain that? They manage it in that way that it goes faster and the soil is going to be better. But at the end, the natural, it's just doing it, you know. In
Yeah.
in the woods, it's what happening when the leaves fall down. It turns into compost, and then the roots take the nutrition again, and again and again.
Yeah. It's all a part of a beautiful biological cycle.
Yeah, it's like the whole food chain of species, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's no different.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I have to just interject with this because we've never personally met and we're conducting this interview online, but it's very clear, Yo-Yo, that you're quite passionate about the topic, which from our standpoint is so cool because when we were coming up with the notes and what we wanted to talk to you about today, I thought of all the companies someone could go into, why did you choose toilets? Right? Because most people would be like, never, I'm not going to touch that. But you're so passionate about it that it's really great because I feel like you're the perfect person for the space.
Well, and you see the value and the greatness that it can achieve, right?
Absolutely. And that you heighten, I think, the general awareness of the value of the byproduct of what humans will create, and as long as there's humans on the planet. So why don't we put that back into the loop and really catalyze what could be very beneficial to our soil and to the health of all that's growing.
So funny, when you ask me that, I'm really questioning myself. I mean, it was really an accident that I had this idea with the toilets, and maybe the reason that no one is doing it was then important. Hey, there is a huge impact we can do,
Mm,
and I was really in that moment. I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to have a job that makes impact. And when I see that no one is doing a thing that is really important, so that's why I'm started. And probably the reason why I'm still passionate about is that it's not so easy. And
mm.
then you always need to be strong to talk to people that they understand. When it would be so easy, probably I would have already quit science long time and started a new thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're definitely in a challenging space, but it's quite admirable. And I just wanted to touch quickly on the topic of it kind of happened by accident, and you were exposed to it while you were in India using a composting toilet. And it's something that is a thread in our podcast. We met with Luv, Glace Luv, who does upcycling food to ice cream. And they said they happened to find an ice cream machine on the street
Yeah, during COVID.
during COVID, and they just started making ice cream, and it just spawned this whole company for them. And I love the idea of if we're open and receptive to ideas, sometimes our livelihoods or our paths take us down a road that we may never have imagined.
Of course. I mean, there is also a lot of luck and patient need to do such things. When we were started, really, I had the idea, and I was just talking to people about it, and it was really the resonance was brilliant. So the most of the people, they said, yeah, it's a good idea. I don't like the plastic chemical things. If you do something better, I book you. And that was happened. Before
Yeah.
we were building a toilet, there was one person that told me, yeah, I book you. So I talked to my partner, who wasn't my partner there, it was just a friend. And I told him, hey, we could start, there is a demand on that. And he said, well, let's do it. And then the first Kompotoi was built out of wood. We took out of the trash and made that one cabin. And then we brought it to that event.
It's great.
And then we made 1,000 failures, and next year we built it 3 new cabins and made more failures. And
Yeah.
well, I think the first 4 years was really try and error, and we were very happy because we always had customers. We
Mm,
built the toilets because we had the next customer, and then we built it again because we had the next customer, and then we get the feedback and also the experience, because it's so much about maintenance in our company.
mm.
Mhm.
So we got the feedback, we learned, and well, in 2016 we were more or less ready to build the company. Yeah.
That's great. And I think that's an important lesson is that there were a lot of iterations to get to where you are today. Like you said, there were designs and failures and trying again and always creating something and gathering feedback. I think that's a very important part of any process, particularly the entrepreneurial journey. But I think the important thing is to not give up. And clearly you haven't because you're over a decade in. So that's fantastic. We noticed that there has been some, I guess, articles on your company and using human waste as an actual resource and kind of gaining some attention on this topic because it seems very relevant today as we move into more sustainability and circular economies. If our listener has no idea about the topic that we're talking about today, do you have any resources that you could recommend? I know that article was in Tages Anzeiger.
Well, we publish a lot of things online. So
Mhm.
we do blogs, and we also on our social media we usually share these articles.
Mhm.
And there is also the association Valou, which provides a lot of information about this topic. And if you're really, really interested to have a solution at your home, or you need something for an event or for your community, really get in contact with us. We will give you everything you need. And yeah, that's probably the best thing.
That's great. And I noticed that there's also, I was talking to, I think, someone in your communications and marketing, and she had really recommended the film. I believe it came out in 2022 called Holy Shit. And we watched the trailer. We haven't watched the whole film, but the film is really talking about everything we're discussing today and really in detail. So if our listeners want to listen to that, then Holy Shit is the film that they can check out.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a very beautiful made film, and it's super international. So he was visiting different countries, how they used manure, what they do with composting, and like different solutions. You can see there also really dig deeper into the problem. It's a very good film. It's really worth watching. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something we're definitely going to look into
Yeah.
further. Um, And you had mentioned before when you started Kompotoi, you had so many iterations and different designs and things that worked. Do you have a tip or something you can share with how, when you face an obstacle or a challenge, how you keep moving forward and don't allow that to stop you?
Oof. It's maybe not so easy, For me, I think what helped us very much is that we always had the feedback for the customer from the customer and the user,
Yeah.
that you really listen what they're saying, and yeah, not go too much away from your path. I think that's also really important. I mean, there were people that saying, yeah, well, that's never gonna happen, of course. What I really experienced in our company is, first on the first 2 years, people were walking next to our product and asking, where is the toilet? No one recognized that this little wooden house is a toilet. And now, or even I think 5 years ago, it just changed. Like we're very well known. Everyone who walks by sees that is a toilet, and it really changed how the people see it, because we just were there since a long time. This is very interesting. And maybe the first 2 or 3 years, we really needed to go out, or maybe more than 3 years. I needed to show almost everyone the toilet live before he will book us. I was on the way with the trailer to get customers. But now we're so good known that, yeah, we receive now in springtime, we receive about 30 requests every day just by mail. And some customer who were never customer before, they just ask us, hey, we have a playground there. We need a solution. Please deliver that and that date till then. And yeah, almost no more questions, because yeah, they know it works.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It's great.
It's so funny that in the beginning people didn't realize it was a toilet because we talked about this earlier. They're really beautiful. They're these, for people who haven't seen them, you can look on the Kompotoi website, but I think we've posted some on social media because we're always excited to find them on a trail. But they're really beautifully constructed and they're wooden and they have you would think that it's some kind of building, but it's a really good experience. So I'm glad that they're getting the recognition that they deserved. And we noticed that you, I believe, just partnered up with Engelberg. So there's a toilet at Trubzee.
Well, their customer signed 6 years, I guess.
Oh,
That's
fantastic.
why we made that trailer there, because we
Yeah.
wanted to have like a customer that talking about their experience with us, and it was a customer that have a long time experience, and yeah, they're both probably 6 years ago, two Kompotois, and now they have six. So they build it up every year a little bit, and it's really amazing there because it's like a mountain where a lot of tourists going. They told me they have around 1 million people going on that mountain a year, and around the Triepsee there is several playgrounds and people really having enjoying the day there. It's on 2,300 meters, I guess, and they have a good solution that fits in that beautiful mountains, and it's really cool to work together with them.
Yeah. And we're very familiar with that area. We actually profiled it in one of our books, but it's a great solution for particularly families who are enjoying barbecue by the lake, or like you said, visiting one of the playground areas. It's nice when you have children who have to go immediately to have an option. So congratulations on that. And that's great that it's been 6 years in the works. If people
Thank you.
wanted to find more about your business, or are there ways that they can support you or hire a toilet, what is the best way for them to do that, Yo-Yo?
Well, if you're interested to rent a toilet or buy one, please come on our website and get your informations there or ask us.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely the best. And for us, you know, we're well known in Switzerland, and I would almost say no one knows us in Germany yet, or not so much. But it helps us really, really much if you just talk about with other people that there is another solution. Your human output is worth something. Just this awareness, and of course it helps us if you back us up on social media or share an article from us. It's really helping us when the word is spread.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, something I really like about some of your communication and outreach is that the space you're in, you don't take it too seriously in terms of social media, and there's a lightness to it and some humor, which I really appreciate. I think it's so well done.
Well, it's probably easy to make some jokes out of our product and what we're working with than in other fields. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, yeah, it's great. I think the work you're doing is certainly for us as a family who hikes a lot, we really appreciate it. And I have to say, I was leading a hike in the Farnsburg area with a group of people, and sometimes we have people we don't know who come on these hikes. But I was so happy to see your toilet at Farnsburg because it was kind of our midway point, and we all took a break there. And I said, "Oh, there's a toilet here. I'm so excited. It's a Kompotoi." And everyone was looking at me like, "Why are you so excited?" But I said, "Once you use it, you'll understand." And it was literally, and I'm not saying this because you're on the line, it's very truthful. I even wrote to your communications person about this, that they all came out and they're like, "That's a very different experience than what we're used to in terms of a chemical toilet." And then it just became this running joke with our group that they rated their experience when they came out. So it's, yeah, I think the work you're doing is really, it's just, it has meaning and value beyond just finding a toilet in a space that you need it. So I appreciate that very much.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool that you are such a big fan of our product.
It's funny because when we really like something, I always feel that in society, unfortunately, people give negative feedback so easily and so frequently, but we rarely take the time to say thank you to a company or an organization that adds value to the society as a whole. And I think that's something that you're doing. So you're one company or organization that I feel like should really be supported because you're trying to turn something that people don't necessarily see as valuable into something that really has merit. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're very right in that. And there is also another thing, if you try to change something, there is always like big questions. Is that really, I mean, what is in your compost at the end? Can you find something? Of course you can find something, but look in the water, you find something too. But yeah, it's just the state of the art. You don't question the state of the art. You question the new things, you know? And
Yeah.
this makes it sometimes very hard, because we are much better than the status quo, and still we get a lot of questioning and criticism. Yeah, so that helps very much if people help us with that things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I heard one time, which I think is really important, that if everyone agrees with what you're doing, something's wrong. That we have to have some feedback or some pushback or some negative thoughts into what we're doing, because then it means we're really on to change. And I think in your case, that's really very true.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
So Yo-Yo, we're just going to quickly go into what we call a rapid fire round, where we're going to ask you a few questions and you can just say whatever comes to mind, and then we'll close out our talk for today. So our first question
Cool.
is, what are you personally most passionate about or driven by when it comes to the protection and preservation of the environment?
Hey, I'm really a soil activist. I have the feeling that our soil has so much potential just to store CO2, to like it's a living organism. And yeah, I'm really focusing on that and give a lot of how you say trust that this soil can save us.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And we just spent the last, I don't know, 45 minutes talking about, in some case, what could be seen as a controversial or radical concept, even though it's something we've done in the past and other countries are utilizing it. But what is the best way to educate people in this space, or dare we say, change people's minds on the use of human waste as potential for the future?
You know, it's the experience, I guess. People need to experience that they can be part of the of the solution. It's really, I also needed to see it, you know. Otherwise, the idea wouldn't haven't, yeah, would never come up. You really need, the best would be actually use the toilet and then grab into the beautiful soil that could come out of it. You know, it's not so close together. It's not next to the toilet, the composting site, but still you need to bring that things together and experience, and then yeah, you will question yourself every time you're sitting on a water toilet, what I'm doing here.
Exactly. That's great. Okay, what book has had the biggest impact on you?
Ooh, you know, when I think about that, I'm reading quite often,
Yeah.
but I think the book that had the most influence was when I was very young, and it's from Wolf-Dieter Storl. It's his how you say that, his book about himself.
Mm-hmm.
Ich bin ein Teil des Waldes. I'm part of the forest,
Mm.
and he lives in the forest for probably a bit more than a year, I think, and yeah, it's very romantic story about that man really getting the contact into nature. And yeah, I don't know, I was 20 or something when I was reading that, and it really, yeah, it probably changed my way of thinking that yeah, we can have an impact, and I can do some value on this planet, even if I'm just a little water drop in the ocean.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds a bit like Thoreau,
Yeah.
the Walden.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking that as well. Yeah. And our final question for you today, Yo-Yo, is do you believe that one person has the power to impart positive change?
I'm absolutely sure about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else can you do? You need to try. If you don't try, you have already lost.
Yeah.
And for me, it's obvious everyone can do something, and if it's just small, when everyone do something small, it's big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, little things add up.
For sure.
Yeah.
And Yo-Yo, is there anything we didn't discuss today that you want us to mention or talk about?
No, I think we did great.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. So, hey, thank you for your time, Yo-Yo. We
Yeah, thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll be in touch.
Have a good day.
Hey, you as well. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to be awesome and share this podcast with your friends. Click subscribe, rate, and review. Do you have a story to tell? An organization you'd like to tell the world about? We love to hear from you and our global community. So please get in touch with us at reVyven.com. That's REVYVEN.com. Or send us an email at reVyven.com@gmail.com.